Hey everyone, it's Dr. Detroit here. The doctor is in, and welcome back to our F1 2023 full season abridged playthrough. Today, playthrough? Okay, playthrough. Well, I guess you could pray through the race. But today, it's off to Austria, where the hills will be alive with the sound of F1 cars for the Austrian Grand Prix. Alright, so in the last race, we had some great fun, because you can see we now have a bigger points lead on Sergio Perez, and the Ferraris are just running away right now with that deal. We started actually in 10th place, but we got the fastest lap again, so we're slowly coming back to our fastest lap deal, which is great. But we're coming up to some races that are going to be a lot of fun. We have Austria, which is next, followed by Great Britain, then it's off to Belgium, and then it's off to Zandvoort. And then we'll get down to it as we continue to make our way towards Abu Dhabi and hopefully into the championship standings. Here's our little vehicle stuff to kind of show you exactly where we are. You will notice that the engine right now is already at 42% wear. I told the people at R&D to get that taken care of. We might go ahead and we might not change that just yet. That one we're still fine with. The energy store is still fine. This is fine. This is fine. And then this one is fine. So right now the main concern is the internal combustion engine and also the kinetic motor here. So we need to keep an eye on these two things and probably have to change them when we need to. I don't believe we will have to take a grid penalty again for this race, but this is going to be important. And as you guys may remember from the last race we did, I will not be returning to Ferrari, but I have a feeling that after this race, and maybe even after Great Britain, is when we're going to have to possibly choose our next team. Who's it going to be? Well, I don't know yet, but let's go ahead and advance the time, and we're going to get to...
We've had the new parts come through the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Alright, what kind of issue are they want? Chassis morale is down by 10%. Yikes. The team went with the head of the chassis department's plans, but results weren't as expected. It's going to take some effort to fix. Oh, great. Well, that's not a good thing. We still got some. We still got some points, so I wonder if we can get these guys a little bit higher up. Let me see. Yeah, a lot of these chassis things are kind of expensive right now, but maybe after we're done with one of the practicing sessions, we can get them going. Because right now in the aero category, we're doing great, but we'll get their morale up. Hey, there's a little something extra. All right, so this means that we can go ahead and do this. Because we have a little extra something, why don't we go ahead and upgrade something, or get it ready. How about, let's see, what's the monocoque string do? Result in weight advantage with no sacrifice to strength. Okay. Tire blankets, we won't have them for the next 2 Grand Prix, but... you know what? Let's go ahead and go for them, because why not? Alright. So now we got that sorted out, let's go ahead and not do the... You know what, let's go ahead and skip that. But there it is. There is the Red Bull ring. So let me go get this car qualified and all that, and I'll meet you guys on the grid momentarily.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. The scientist lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Joe, Bottas, Gasly, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Stroll, Albon, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Alright, so, this is going to be an interesting situation here, because let me show you something. No pit stops whatsoever, because this is a sprint format. Now, what this is that new to the F1 series for the last couple of years, F1 has these sprint races to set the field in qualifying. And it's led to some pretty weird things. So, a 12-lap race is going to set the grid. So you guys are going to get 2 races for the price of 1 video, because wherever we finish here will be our starting position for the race itself, which will be 36 laps. So let's go ahead and get started right now with this, because we are about to get going. So here we go. It's going to work like just any ordinary race, of course, you know.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
Yep. So essentially, that's exactly what happens. And as you can see, we're the only team to start on the softs, it looks like, while the others are on mediums. However, this track isn't really too much known for tire wear. You also saw, too, it's a 2.6-mile track.
So weather shouldn't play a factor today. We're expecting it to remain dry all the way through.
Awesome. And plus, these 12 laps are going to go by fairly quick, because the lap times here, I don't know if you guys caught it or not, go by at a minute, basically a minute 6 to a minute 8. Because this track is fairly short, so this should be a lot of fun. This should be a really great sprint race. It's also our first sprint race, I think, of the season. So this will be awesome to see how good this goes. I think we got another one coming up somewhere down the road. But you guys are going to get to see 2 races, which will be awesome. As you can see, our teammate Charles Leclerc starts in the 2nd position. And then you have Lewis Hamilton, and you have George Russell, and Max Verstappen back there. So let's see if we can keep ourselves into a 1-2. Yikes! Wow, Hamilton, really? What the hell were you doing, mate? God, if that had been the actual race, I would have gotten the penalty because I was in his way. Anyway, let's get rolled up right here. Let's roll up and make sure we nav this right. There we go. Nice and easy. Yes!
Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
Oh, I'm sure we will. So it looks like you'll get 2 of these at the same time.
Be ready with a clutch.
Yeah, we got it. The grid is almost formed up. But now, here we go for the sprint race. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights! And it's go, go, go! Man, a lot of these starts have been really, really fast. The game is just not wanting to delay anything, which is pretty awesome. But now we're underway. We get off to a really good start here in the sprint race. In fact, we now have a little lead here on our teammate Charles Leclerc. DRS will be enabled here very soon. And of course, it's the first couple laps, so this car will be a little bit awkward, especially with the tires starting to wear in. There was a little issue back there, but I don't know why we had a yellow flag, but that's okay. As we make our way through these tight areas. And as you can see, Austria is a very flowing circuit. There's no chicanes to worry about, so this is perfect for a high-speed car such as the Ferrari. And then once we get into our rhythm here, we should be okay. But this should be where the Ferrari really, really, really shows off. Like, you could run a low downforce setup here, but you need a little bit of downforce to get around here. So we came with a mixed bag. We came with kind of a mixed setup for this. As we make our way out of the final corner, we already have a 1.4 second lead ahead of our teammate Leclerc, and now we lead lap 1.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
I'm gonna keep missing that that part of the track because of where in the daytime this is, and we keep getting those yellow flags for some reason. Oh, there's been a crash with Esteban Ocon. I wonder if he had an incident or something, but he's out of the race, so he's gonna start last. That is one of the Alpine cars for some reason. We'll have to take a look at the replay of that and see what exactly happened, but we will take a look at that once we get to the end, which should be maybe in about, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe even about 15 minutes or so, depending on how fast the crow flies. And yeah, there is no strategy in these types of races. You just go out there on a set of tires, and you just try to get as many positions as you can to get ready for the big race. And usually these events take place on the day before it. Sprint races.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Yes, thank you. So anyway, sprint races happen at a few different racetracks, but it also is to kind of like give the fans a little more racing. And you know, you have seen some very strange things that have taken place in some of these events. In fact, at one point, I believe it was Kevin Magnussen started on the pole for one of these races, and it was a huge deal for sure. But yeah, I'm not sure where else we're going to find another sprint race. But if we do get another one later in the series, we will show it. Because you know, anytime that the car is on track for any position or points, then we will show it. Also, you do get points in this race. I forget how many you do get, but they pretty much treat this as if it's like another, you know, race day. So we make our way around to complete lap number 4. We were green in all those sectors, and then we kind of messed up on the red on the final sector. Something to keep in mind about this track is that it's very easy to get off course, as you can see right there. If this was something like Gran Turismo 7, I would have already gotten a penalty for that. But because this is F1, we're actually okay. And if you notice too, we are not necessarily opening the gap like we were back at Canada, because that's the thing. Like I said, this is a race of outright pace, and when it comes to speed, the Ferraris have it right now, because we did focus a lot of attention on those engine upgrades. And right now, Charles Leclerc has sole possession of second place, so I think we might be able to bring home a Ferrari 1-2, at least in the sprint race. But I do find it rather interesting that everybody else is on the mediums and we're on the softs, as looks like Lando Norris has taken away a fifth spot away, and now he'll be trying to get over Lewis Hamilton. Make our way back to the start-finish line. We're almost at the halfway point of this race. And as you can see, 1 minute and 8 seconds is how fast every race, every lap goes by here. I think the longest lap that we'll be running in this series anyway will most likely end up being at Spa de Francorchamps in a few weeks' time, which probably by then we may have to change the motor. In fact, let's take a look and see how much wear we have right now. Yeah, the ICE is really showing a lot of wear, which I'm not fully sure why. We could take another engine, but I don't know. Because look at that, everything is kind of just starting to really start to wear down. And we kind of want to make sure that we can make it through to the next couple of races, so probably need to be really careful with what we do. The gearbox is fine. The gearbox could probably last a couple more races. But you can see that everything else is starting to show a little bit of wear. And this place is definitely one of those tracks where the wear will get, you know, a lot more. So right now we've hit the halfway point. Your top 5 as it stands, we are leading. Charles Leclerc continues to be behind us. He is 4.5 seconds behind us. Behind him will be Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, or Mercedes anyway. Max Verstappen is going to be 4th right now, and George Russell is going to be currently 5th. So the Butler currently runs in the 5th position, but it looks like he and Lando Norris are trading positions right now, so we'll have to see if Norris or Russell gets the 5th place. But we're going to have to be careful, though, because with Lewis Hamilton right behind us, we can't afford to have Hamilton start to do good. Alright, and we also can't afford him to win, which I don't think he will, because we do have a little bit better pace than the Mercedes. And plus, right now, Hamilton and Verstappen are pretty much close to each other. And Hamilton can't do anything with our teammate Leclerc, because Leclerc currently has a 3.5 second lead ahead, so there's no way that they can get DRS to work at that point. As you can see, we are starting to string things out, which is kind of what we're going to be seeing in the race. But maybe everybody will be going a little bit quicker, because in some cases you don't give it your all sometimes. But right now we're just hanging out here in the race lead. Oh boy. Almost got a little loose there, but our tire wear is doing a lot better because we did a lot of research and development and everything just to get these cars to run better, as now Verstappen has made the pass on Lewis Hamilton. So Verstappen now goes to P3 with Hamilton dropping back to 4th. That might actually put us in a good spot. Oh, careful, we don't want to over-rev the engine. Now, if we wanted to take a grid penalty, this would be a good track to do it at, because, you know, it's such a open speedway, but I don't think we're going to do anything. I don't think we need to take an engine penalty, or a grid penalty or anything for this race. I think we will just run with what we got, and then when we get to Great Britain, we'll figure that out. Which Great Britain I'm the most concerned about, because I'm not fully sure how it's actually going to work, but we shall see. Making our way into, making to lap number 9. Ooh, got a little bit out of hand there. But I remember that I went over the curb over there, and
that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left.
And I almost binned it back there, which thank God that we didn't do that. But I can start to feel the car getting a little loose on corner exit. Right now, everybody seems to be okay. We'll see what happened there with Ocon, and I'll tell you what.
So your teammate behind is 5.7 seconds.
I'll tell you one thing. This is going to be interesting. Now, here's the thing. Some YouTubers, some big ones, would probably have skipped the sprint race, but I wanted to show you guys how the sprint format works. And then some YouTubers would basically say,
if this video gets 7 million likes, then we will unlock it, and we'll put it out.
well, for me, here's the thing. You guys can like the video all you want, like, comment, and subscribe. But, for this one, this is going to be a longer video, which means that you guys will not have to wait for another video to come out, because we're going to put the race in this video. So it is going to be a longer one. So I think now would be a good time to pop some popcorn, because I feel like this is going to be a really good race. And I think we'll see what we can do, because we now have 3 laps to go here in the sprint race. So I think we're pretty much going to end up winning this, especially with the fact that our car is just so dang good right now. We went over the curves a little bit there. And also, for those that don't know, this is 2 ticks into the hard category. So we may have to up this a little bit, but I think everybody's going to be nice and close as we get further in, because I think some of these teams might be using a sick engine right now and are waiting to change it. So maybe that's the reason why. Because remember how Max Verstappen kind of did us before we got to Miami? Ooh, careful. Don't get too overzealous over that. It's gotta be really careful because our pit strategy, it's shaping up to possibly be a one-stop race again. Because see how many times...
Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip anytime now.
Yeah, it looks like these soft tires are going to start to lose some grip. But I was going to say that this track is not so much, you know, it's not really known for too much tire wear, which is good news. But as you can see, we are slowly pulling away. But I can see that Verstappen is starting to close the gap on our teammate Leclerc, but I don't think that's going to be...
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
But I don't think it's going to be a problem, as now Lewis Hamilton gets around Max Verstappen. So he might start in P3, but Verstappen said nope. But Hamilton's going yep. So, but wait, Verstappen says nope, and Hamilton says yep. Oh my god, it's a battle there for third place. So the battle rages on in third, and it looks like Verstappen will get the nod for this one at least. And meanwhile, the other car back there, I can see in the orange dot there of Lando Norris. That looks like it's Lando Norris. He's not close enough to really do anything with it, but he will find himself in a pretty good spot. Meanwhile, we're coming to the white flag presented by Ally Bank for this sprint race, and we actually had a pretty fast lap except for that last part.
Keep your concentration and let's bring it home.
Well, I can definitely keep my concentration, plus I can keep everything here. But this is pretty much going to be how it will set. So for right now, George Russell, the butler, will start 5th.
Okay, just 2 laps of
4th will go to Lewis Hamilton. And it looks like 3rd, Max Verstappen has it pretty much sewn up, unless Hamilton has something to say about it. And it looks like it's going to be a true Leclerc and Detroit 1-2, which would be absolutely bonkers. And we are not going to be using any engine penalties, as now Lewis Hamilton blipped into 3rd for a second, but couldn't get it. Max Verstappen stays in 3rd. I feel like Verstappen is going to keep it, so we should be okay. No sign of Sergio Perez anywhere, so not sure where he is. But we are definitely going to be starting on the pole because we've dominated this race. And now, coming out of the final couple of corners, nice and easy through here. And now to the checkered flag we go, and we will win the sprint race. Beautiful.
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
Beautiful. We've done it. It's cool.
So let's review the updated driver standings. The scientist increases their championship lead. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
And you can see that we got 8 points added to our tally, which is great. But now let's go back over to this, and let's see if we can figure out what happened to Ocon. Alright, so let's see. Something happened here that caused a... Oh, okay. So, looks like he didn't have any problems. He just... Something busted on that car, but... That's another Alpine issue. See if we can sort out what went down. Well, something went wrong with that car. God. Alright. Well, anyway, that is the results of the sprint race. And we did really well. And you can see that Fernando Alonso gets the last point in on time. So you can see there's the starting lineup. Sergio Perez will start back in 7th. And Lando Norris is nowhere to be found. I think... Oh, wait, there he is. He's 6th. And his teammate, Oscar Piastri, will start back there in the 9th position. Alright. So that's going to take care of everything. So that's going to take care of that race, the sprint race. So we have the pole, which is awesome. Alright, so now everybody, in just a few seconds, we'll be heading down to the grid to get ready for the Austrian GP. So I'll see you guys down on the grid momentarily.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. The scientist lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell, Norris, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Gasly, Tsunoda, Bottas, Joe, Albon, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Sargent, Hulkenberg, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Oh, we're not going to let you down. Alright, so let's take a look at the strategy, and you can see it's a 2-stop, or a 1-stop again. But you can also see, too, that we will need a little extra fuel, so I'm going to go ahead and do some of that, just so that we have a little extra on board. But again, it'll be a 1-stopper, and then some teams are looking to possibly do the 2-stop strat, which will be interesting. I believe some people near the back of the pack are going to do it, but yes, everybody, we are on pole position, which is really, really cool. And it is going to be really cool. 36 laps. This race will go by fairly fast, and the video is already long enough, so let's do it to it. Let's get this race going. So here we go. Now we roll off on the formation lap.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want you to bog down.
That's good. So there's definitely no issues there, but we will definitely want to see what we can do. Because one of the things that we will need to be careful with, especially with this car, is just make sure that we have a good race and we don't screw it up. I noticed that George Russell is starting on the mediums, it seems. So he's going to try some sort of weird strategy, I guess. And I don't even know if that's even, you know, true or not. But we'll see. Just get the tires warmed up. Swerving them back and forth helps give them heat, but also cleans off any debris or anything that could be right there. Just going. Alright, this is going to be a lot of fun. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy this as well. But I think this could be a perfect opportunity for me and Leclerc to get a double points day for Ferrari. But we'll have to see how it goes, because we've still got the hard-charging Verstappen, Hamilton, and Russell behind us, as well as the rest of the field too. And also, sucks for Alex Albon, who ends up starting way back again in 14th, which is not where you want to be in most of these cases. But anyway, let's now line back up on the front of the pack. Here we go. There's our teammate Leclerc. He's about to get his position there. Usually you're not supposed to pass the leader, and if you pass, you know, before anything happens, then that's a huge penalty. Alright, let's slow it down.
We're not expecting any changes to the weather today. It should be dry throughout.
Oh! Start position, reset, failed to park. Ah, we just went a little bit over. Reform grid for race. Well, let's see what happens. We should be able to keep this here. And we're just going to wait for those 5 red lights, and then we'll get going. Here we go! 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights! And it's go, go, go! Great start off the line for us, once again. As now Verstappen gets the jump on Charles Leclerc. Man, he got an absolutely amazing start there on Leclerc. Hopefully Leclerc does not fall back anymore into the clutches of anybody. But now we make our way into that all-important corner of turn number 3. Now we head our way down to Sector 2. There was a short yellow flag there, but now we can resume racing. And right now Leclerc seems to be struggling a little bit, as he did not get a good start off the line, which is kind of strange. It's always good on the first lap that we keep an eye on our tires and everything and just make sure that we don't do anything foolish. In fact, the first lap is always when everybody's on the cold setting or anything, but then as the race progresses and as the tire wear gets better, we will slowly but surely be seeing those lap times going down. We make our way through here as we make it into the final 2 corners right here. Very easy to get offline, but you can definitely clip the apron right there. As we come back around the start-finish line, we will lead lap 1 with Verstappen behind us in 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Perez 4th, and Lewis Hamilton in the 5th position. We're just going to stay up here and keep on keeping on with the race lead.
We've got a lot of spare energy. Okay to use your overtake button.
Well, we're not going to use the overtake right now. I'm just going to keep it with me. And you can see that Verstappen back there is just holding up Charles Leclerc, but once the DRS is activated, he won't be able to defend against Leclerc, but hopefully Leclerc will be able to get around Verstappen, and we'll see how that goes. But now, because of the fact that we are now in the race, and now we're up to race temperature for the most part, you're going to start to see these lap times slowly starting to go down. Let's go ahead and use a little bit of the overtake, just to kind of give us a little bit more of a power there. Ooh, a little too much off the track, but here we go. But at least now we got a 108.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
And now DRS has now been enabled. It's always enabled on lap 3. So if I were Leclerc right now, I'd be using that as much as I can. We do have the other areas that have DRS zones. And a little history on the DRS. I think I mentioned this before in a previous race, but the DRS, the drag reduction system, used to be able to use it anywhere, anytime, especially if you were within 1 second. But then they started introducing DRS zones for safety concerns, and also I think they just didn't want to see as many overtakes, I guess. So the DRS will be active, and sometimes people's DRS things can actually break and snap on. Like, there's actually been a few races where DRS has been enabled on a car and it gets stuck on, which is never a good thing. So right now we make our way through the last few corners and get through. We're going to be completing lap 4 of 36. And you did see that I did add a little extra fuel to this car, so that means we'll be able to push without having to feel safe like we did in Canada, as now put Charles Leclerc to 2nd place. Because I think something went wrong there with Verstappen. In fact, Verstappen's off the pace, or no, that's actually Perez. I'm sorry. I had the two blue dots mixed up. So Perez is now behind Leclerc. So as long as Leclerc can hold off Verstappen, we should be fine. As you can see, a lot of the cars that currently are on the soft tires, these are literally teams that are pulling the traditional one-stop strategy for this one. Make our way through these corners. This track is a lot of fun to drive on Gran Turismo 7, no matter what car you decide to use. And I mentioned before about tire wear, especially during the sprint race. The tire wear here is not the biggest factor. But once we get onto the mediums, we should be fine. No need to use the hard tires, because they're not going to, wear enough to really justify using them. Also, I don't know if I saw... Oh yeah, I did see a helicopter back there. I was wondering if that was an airplane, and I'm like, that's a little close to the racetrack, but obviously not. And you can see that there's a slow car on the track. Somebody has pulled off. It's Esteban Ocon again. So it looks like the Alpines are having a very difficult time. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be an engine component or something, but you guys saw in the sprint race a little earlier that Esteban had a little problem. So that's a tough break. It looks like the Alpines are having some very weird reliability issues. So now he's pulled off. They're in not a corner number 2. And so that's a yellow flag zone right there.
Caution, caution. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 5.9 seconds.
So yeah, there's the stricken car over there.
Okay, clear.
Now, I should go ahead and tell you the real-world rules. What happens is that as soon as something goes wrong with the car, whether it be an engine or a drivetrain or something, your first instinct is to try and bring it back to pit road. But what happens is that usually the teams will actually tell you to not do that. As now we got a new 5th placeman, Lando Norris, was taking it over from whoever was back there. I forgot who it was. But anyway, so you'll see these drivers literally pull over way off the racing line into a little alcove where there a tow truck or a crane will usually bring the car back to the pit area. So that way, you know, they're not dropping pieces or they're not, you know, anything. It's more of a safety concern, so we stay full on green. So right now, the McLaren of Norris is currently in the 5th position, which is pretty nice. And meanwhile, George Russell has fallen back a little bit. I can see his little turquoise dot. Now, the only way I even know who's in front is that if you can see their name here in the top 5 and then look down and see where the hell they are, then you can see exactly like where their teammates are, if you know exactly where their main drivers are. If that makes sense. But now George Russell and Lando Norris are having a little how-do-you-do moment. The 2 British drivers are trying everything they can to take over 5th place. Meanwhile, I believe that Verstappen is right there within striking distance of Leclerc, but I don't think he's going to cause any... I don't think he's going to do anything with this. We come out of the corner, we're now going to be hitting lap 8 of 36, so we're slowly... As you can see, the lap times have gone to 1:10, but we are clicking them off fairly quickly. We make our way through Austria. What's funny though is that this track was on the calendar for a long time, then it was dropped, and then it was brought back on. And when it came back on, it became a fan favorite amongst a lot of people as we go past the Pirelli Bridge. And I will say it's definitely a fun one. As now, put Max Verstappen, put our teammate Leclerc back into 2nd place, because it looks like Verstappen is going to try and make something happen, but they got to be careful, because Lewis Hamilton could easily catch up. I mean, the more that they battle together to try and take the position, the more that Hamilton will start to reel them in, and that's not going to be a good thing. That's definitely not going to be a good thing at all. Going to use a little bit of this. Uh-oh, Sonoda's out of the race. So the AlphaTauri is now fallen out. He's up there in the other turn. Not sure what happened to him, but I guess we'll figure out what the hell happened. But most likely he will have had a mechanical failure. And this place is also very tough on mechanical stuff. I definitely know that for a fact. There's our fuel strategy, or there's our pit strategy. So we got to pit somewhere between laps 16 and 21. So we might come in around lap 17, just like what we did in the last race. There's the stricken car of Sonoda on the left-hand side. You can see that everything is still fairly good, but it looks like we might have to do an engine change.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Wow, it's like the game predicted it.
green
yeah.
flag.
So yeah, the engine's gonna start to start laying over, but we should be okay for the rest of this race. I mean, we've opened it up to a 10-second lead ahead of Leclerc and Verstappen. But imagine what's gonna happen if we put a new engine in. Like, whoa, man, that was close. But imagine what's gonna happen when we put the new engine in. I mean, we could end up being dominant, like we are right now. Because once again, I feel like a lot of these teams, it seems like that some of them are not really using their new engines as of yet. I think they want the engines to kind of blow up on them, like we saw there with Tsunoda and Ocon. But I kind of wish that they would tell you like what the issue was, or anything like that, because I think it would be great to know. Because then you can find out exactly like what kind of pieces are having some issues, because then you know when you decide to go to a different team, if you decide to leave a team like we're going to be doing at the end of this season, then you'll know kind of like where to put some of your performance points and pretty much all the resource points that we've had, because there's been a couple of practicing sessions where I've ran a few extra laps just so we can get some extra points. So that way we can
overtake and burn off some of this energy.
Because here's the thing that I just remembered. The more we develop this car, I feel like whoever's going to take this car is going to be really good with it. So we got to be careful. But if we can actually do something with this and make it one of the better cars, then we can take this. We can take what we know over to the other team, whoever we decide to choose. Which right now, Alpine, if it continues to have this kind of issue, maybe we might not go there.
Gap to your teammate behind is 10.1 seconds.
I mean, I don't see us leaving F1, because this has been way too much fun, especially with everything that we've been doing in F1. But who knows? Maybe we might jump down and go to F2 or something. I mean, there's not too many F2 seasons, but you know, it's worth a shot.
Don't worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
I mean, we never really did F2, which is the building blocks up to here, but I don't know. Should we go down to F2 and try a career down there, or should we just stay up here with, you know, with these big guys? And I think we should probably stay up here. I want to see exactly which teams move to which areas. In fact, I think it would be hilarious if me and Fernando Alonso suddenly went back to Alpine. Right now, the Aston Martin team, I'm trying to look and see. They're kind of there, but right now the Aston Martins are kind of not so good. But I wonder if there's some way that I can fix that if we go over there, as now we got a new second placeman. Max Verstappen has taken the pass to Charles Leclerc, but now we'll see if Leclerc can do anything to get back into second place. Bringing it nice and easy through the corners. And so now with Verstappen right there, we also see too that one of the cars that started on the medium tires, George Russell, is right there. I'm wondering if he's working the strategy backwards. Like he's going to run with mediums first and then go to the softs. That's a bold strategy, but I don't think that's going to cause... I really don't think that's the right way to go. Here's a reminder for everybody about where we're going to be coming in. Might add just a little bit extra downforce. Just one click. One click is okay. You can see that we're starting to definitely get some pieces that are starting to wear. So we may have to change a bunch of them. We may have to change the engine and stuff before we get to Great Britain. Or we could run the race with that motor. I don't know. I mean, we may have to run a few races with these types of motors, but who knows? I know we have a couple of things in the durability category that will be coming in. So we'll see how this goes. And it looks like another one of the Williams is back there. I highly doubt I'm going to go to Williams because they're right now really slow. and I kind of don't want to have to go back over there and, you know, continue to develop on something like that. Because I think after getting a taste of the Ferrari, I would like to try like a mid-pack team of some sort and see if we can make it from mid-pack to up here. Make our way through the corners here, as we now will be hitting lap 15. We'll be approaching the halfway point here in about a couple laps' time. And looks like right now Leclerc feels content to stay behind Max Verstappen. So it's looking more and more like we could be seeing a few things here. Could be seeing a few things play out. For example, the engine doesn't feel like it's letting down, which is good news. I wanted to add a little extra downforce because I felt like maybe the car will be a little bit, I don't know, maybe just see what would happen. And here comes Charles Leclerc into pit road. So Leclerc comes in a little early. Ooh, I wonder if he's going to pull an undercut. I wonder if he's on an alternate strategy than we are. Well, he comes to pit road and is going to hards? Wow. So off come the softs, on go the hards. Huh. So from the looks of it, it looks like that he's going to try and just do the one-stopper like we are, but he's going to try and go for the hards. That is not a bad... That's really not a bad strategy. I mean, but man, that is like a... I don't know. I don't know if I like that strategy, especially here. I mean, you can take whatever tire you want for the most part, but my God, softs to hards. There's some method to his madness. I don't know if I want to do that.
Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
But you know what this means is that now this puts us in a very weird predicament. Like, let me see. I mean, do we really want to go to hards? Here comes a few more of the cars to pit road. I mean, we could? You know what? No. We're going to go ahead and stick with our original strategy, I think. Because I think the mediums will be fine. We got a big enough lead that we should be fine. So Verstappen's on pit road, Hamilton is on pit road. I say we come in now.
Push. Gap to the car behind. 17.4 seconds.
In fact, with any luck, we should maintain the race lead on pit road. So let's see what happens here. In fact, you know what? I just saw that. We're switching our strategy to the hards because I just saw what they could do. Let's just go ahead and do the same thing like our teammate does. We're going directly to hards. So here we are, we're on pit road now. We just got to keep an eye out where George Russell and the others come out. On to pit road, off come the softs, and on go the hards. And off we go.
No problems, really smooth. Ferrari, no doubt, very happy with that stop.
Alright, so let's see how much time we lose. There's George Russell. Are we gonna be able to get past him? No, he gets past us. But now we're out here on the hards for who knows what reason. But we're gonna see if going to the hards is going to be any better, because I feel like there could be a method to the madness of Charles Leclerc.
Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake.
So right now, George Russell is currently in the race lead with those medium tires, which is what we would have come out on. So it is going to take a little bit of time for us to get past him, but I'm wondering, did he come to pit road? I think he's still out here. On these medium tires, gives us the line, and now we take over that lead, and look at how much we actually went past him.
Brilliant, nice move, keep going.
And boy, these were on the hard tires, too, which was crazy. So let's see what he's going to do. Yeah, he's coming to pit road. And also, I think Oscar Piastri should be coming to pit road, too. So right now, as it stands, that undercut really didn't do much for everybody. But what it did do is that it did put Leclerc still solidly in the third spot on these harder tires. So now, once everything cycles out, we should see who is back into the top 5, and it should be almost the same, right? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be about the same. But right now, we have the race lead. Verstappen is second, Leclerc is third, Hamilton fourth.
Okay, car behind trailing us, 0.2 seconds.
0.2 seconds. Boy, that's not true. Either that or it's probably because the game audio is a little bit lagged out there. But we have a 14.5 second lead ahead of these guys, so the undercut really didn't help too much, but it did keep Leclerc locked onto the back tail section of Max Verstappen, but it also put Lewis Hamilton right there too. And Lewis has the better tires, so does Verstappen, but again, like we've seen in past races, these hard tires tend to be a little bit better over the long runs. As we'll soon be getting into about 16 laps to go. We should also start to see some lap traffic coming into view, so we might have to contend with that. But right now, things are looking really decent, and for us not having to do the hard tires in practice, they're actually holding up pretty well. And I also am eating my words too, because I said we weren't going to use the hard tires, and look at what we're using. And to be fair, I think Leclerc and Russell have the right idea. So, using the hard tires, yeah, they're going to be slower for now, but as the race goes on, more than likely, the ones on medium tires will start to fall flat. So I'm going to use a little bit of overtake here, see if we can make Sector 3 purple on these, because that would be an interesting little mind F for the FIA. Let's see if we come out of the corner. Are we going to turn it purple? Oh yeah, 108.2, or actually 108.12. Alright, so we have solidified those points for sure. But now we have about 16 to go. Which is great. And we should be catching up to like one of the... It looks like we're going to be catching up to one of the Williams cars. Most likely it's probably Logan Sargent. And then we might catch up to the back of the... probably the Haas team after that. So Haas is really struggling back here. I don't see myself going to Haas. I don't see myself going to Haas. This is gonna be really strange to see where we actually end up going for the next season. I mean, I'm still very undecided about where I might go, because if we go to Aston Martin, that's me reuniting with my former Alpine teammate Fernando Alonso. If we go to Alpine, then we may have to deal with some issues from there, but I know I can get the Drivers' Championship for Alpine as well. We could even possibly get the Drivers' title, but that's going to be really, really tight. That's going to be really rough. So I don't think we're going to be able to get that. If I go to Red Bull, that means that would most likely mean I'd have the best car, and then we'd be doing pretty well. I'm not going to McLaren. And if we go to Williams, I would have one good teammate in Alex Albon, maybe. But I'd have to see if I can redevelop the car. And hopefully not be so slow. But I really don't know how the Williams works. This is definitely some things we're going to have to keep an eye on. And I kind of feel like that we are going to need to make a decision here really fast on where we're going to go. Because any team that we choose, it's going to be an uphill battle to get them both back, to get us both up at the top here with Mercedes and everything. I mean, I could go to Red Bull, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to go there. I mean, there's definitely a lot of cards on the table to play with. So now we're going to start slowly reeling in the lap cars. This fuel strategy, as well as the tire strategy, has really messed up a lot of people. Like, you can see that there's quite a few bits, because it's not like back at Circuit G's Villeneuve, where everybody was scattered, was basically all together. Here, everybody's scattered out like a bunch of roaches. Use a little bit of our overtake just to kind of have some fun here. But now we are slowly closing the book on this race. We got about 13 laps to go now. So Max Verstappen still is in second place. Leclerc is second. Hamilton fourth.
Overtake button more. It's time to utilize some of this energy. Come on.
All right, and George Russell, the butler, is back in the fifth position. I guess we'll go ahead and use a bit of our overtake. See if we can just get a little bit closer to everybody. Maybe we can also take the fastest lap down a little bit more. But let's see if we can do that. In fact, let's try it. Let's see how we did here in this sector. If we turn to green, that's good. Let's see. Ooh, that's probably going to be a red. No, we actually went green. So now let's try this again here in this sector. See if we can't bring it up a little bit more. So let's see, as we make our way into the final corner, coming out of the corner, let's see how the lap time looks. Do we improve? No, barely. We lose it by that much. That's fine. Let's not use any more of our overtake. Let's just go ahead and let the car do its thing. We don't need to use the overtake at this point. Because I mean, we got like a 21-second lead, so it's pretty impressive, especially with everything that we're doing. And up ahead, I can see one of the Williams now, which means they'll get the blue flag to basically pull over. But they will do that once we are within striking distance of them. So that should be Logan Sargent ahead of us. Yep, so now they just got the blue flag, which means at some point here they're going to have to move over to one side and allow us to go through. So they should do it here on the front stretch. There we go. Yep, so now they're letting us go by. They just don't have enough to deal with us. So thank you for letting us go by. You also see the weird design of our rear wing. All these 2023 cars had a very weird rear wing design, and I'm not fully sure why that was, to be honest. I guess it was to kind of like help with downforce, but who knows. Anyway, next lap we will have 10 laps to go, and we are slowly closing the gap again on these guys. Just gotta be really cautious with them. Meanwhile, it looks like Charles Leclerc has finally gotten around Max Verstappen, because I think those hard tires are starting to show what they're made of, which is really good news. So hopefully he can get himself around these guys and stay there in second place. Nope, Verstappen retakes it again. But now he gets back up into second place. I hope we can bring home a Ferrari 1-2. That would be awesome. But let's see how it goes. 10 laps to go to decide it all. Or at least to decide this race. I mean, the championship hasn't been decided yet. We've still got tons of races to go anyway. So now as we start to close the gap on some of these lap traffic cars, Kevin Magnussen's ahead of us, so now he'll have to pull over and let us go by. And see, he's going to go... Huh, that was strange. He didn't even know where to go, so we had to go off the track a little bit. there, but whoops, come on, baby. There you go. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. Verstappen and Leclerc are just battling back and forth and back and forth. Hopefully Verstappen, or excuse me, hopefully Leclerc can get back around. But I hope he doesn't lose any more spots, because Lewis Hamilton's right there too. Now we can see Nico Hulkenberg up ahead, and somebody else too. I can't tell who that is. It's possibly Joe, who we're about to come up to. Ooh, that was good. Double overtake there, or at least double lap down. Alfa Romeo, I don't think I would go to. That's the Sauber team, which will be kicking around the names Stake and Kick for the majority of the new season coming up soon. However, by the time this video gets released, I'm sure that the season is now underway in F1. So we'll see how they switch around the name, because it's either going to be a kick in the pants or you're going to have a steak dinner. So now we continue through this race. Leclerc now goes to second place, which is good news. Okay, back. Oh man, Verstappen and Leclerc are just going to be going at it back and forth. Hopefully it can be a Ferrari 1-2, because that would be good. I would like us to finish 1-2 at least once this season if we can. We continue down the pathway. We have 8 laps to go now, and we're getting a warning on our thingy, which means something is starting to go bad. Let's see. Yep, the internal combustion engine is starting to show some wear, despite the fact we changed it a little bit ago. So, you know what? I think this engine is starting to lay it down a little bit. Like, listen carefully. Okay, it wasn't like that back there as we get around, who was that? Ricardo, but now we just gotta get around Valtteri Bottas, but the engine just did not sound right. We were going through some of those corners, so yeah. I think we're gonna have to change engines for Great Britain, and hope to God that we can get the hope to God that we don't blow a motor or anything anywhere else. Because, I mean, if this was a smaller, if the next race was a smaller race, we could possibly work with it, but Great Britain is Great Britain, alright? So, don't necessarily want to have a bad engine there. In fact, it almost looks like that we may have to change a lot of things. So meanwhile, back there at second place, it looks like Verstappen will claim second place. Which is kind of unfortunate, but don't worry, that means we would have a double Ferrari podium. Not sure exactly where Sergio Perez is, so Sergio is going to fall down in the point standings a little bit. I mean, he definitely had that beautiful win at Miami, no thanks to his teammate wrecking us. But right now, as long as we finish ahead of Leclerc, or not Leclerc, god damn it, ahead of Max Verstappen, we should be fine. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but right now my little counter as Leclerc goes back to second place, it's about to tick over into 40 minutes. Now I know this is probably not the 40-minute mark of the video, but if we didn't have the sprint video, the sprint race, then we'd have this. But right now it's pretty amazing as we continue to lead this race. We now have just 7 laps to go at this point. So we definitely have this win pretty much sealed up. But the real question is, can Leclerc finish second place and beat out Max Verstappen? Or is it going to be that Verstappen takes that spot? I guess we'll find out here. Meanwhile, I see that there's an Alpine coming up very quickly in my front area. In fact, you can kind of see the top of it back there. Which means we're most likely going to catch him. Looks like we're gonna.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 32.2 seconds.
Alright, so we're gonna be catching an Alpine. And let's see, probably the other Williams and Most likely the other AlphaTauri. Or the Red Bull Visa Cash App team, or whatever the hell they call themselves. Some of these team names are, like, really messed up. Like, they're really hard to remember sometimes. I mean, one of these days I'll get the team names right, which is going to be good. Right now, as we continue through this race, we continue to open up the gap by about 32 seconds ahead of our teammates, and it's definitely pretty cool how this car has just been so fast, especially with the upgrades we got for it. There's going to be some other upgrades that will be coming up as we now get the warning about our tire wear. But this time the tire wear is a little bit more even, which we will get that when we get to Belgium. But we'll just have to keep an eye on the engine. But more than likely I'll have to take a grid penalty at Great Britain, maybe. Because I want to keep some fresh engines kind of nearby. So now as we get closer to these other cars, Leclerc and Verstappen are battling back and forth. Let's see who I'm catching up to. Whoa! Wow! Did you guys see that car just suddenly snap? Yikes. That was close. I thought I was going to end up on pit road for some reason. But yep, there's Pierre Gasly, who runs in the 12th position. He will fall into our hands here momentarily. Think we'll catch him here in just a sec. So right now the Alpine of Pierre Gasly is currently back here in 12th.
Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
And for some reason we have DRS now, which is kind of interesting. So there's Gasly going one lap down. And then up ahead we have Lance Stroll and Alex Albon battling for what looks like the 11th position. So that means we have lapped up to almost 11th place, but we might catch up to Oscar Piastri, but let's see. Oh, this is a battle for that final point position. Oh, Stroll got right in front of us, so he falls back, so does Alex Albon, but now this means there's only 9 cars on the lead lap. So that means those guys are going to be battling it out to see who's going to get that final spot. I mean, look at that. Stroll, Albon, and Gasly are all going to be battling to see who gets that all-important last point for this race. But you can see, too, that if you notice, we haven't actually... Well, we finally left it in the dust, but man, that was crazy. Like, they were just latched onto us. But I think it's also because of this. Did you guys see that? The engine was at 187 miles per hour. So yeah, this engine's really starting to lay down a bit. So yeah, I think we're going to need the new engine going into Great Britain, and so we might end up taking a grid penalty. In fact, there's a couple of components here that might make us go last, because we take a look, a lot of this stuff is really starting to show some wear, so we may have to take a bigger grid penalty, I don't know, but we'll have to see. But meanwhile, as we make our way for the last couple of corners here, we'll be coming to the line, and there will be just 3 laps to go this time by. Looks like Oscar Piastri is going to be totally fine, because now the car is just not feeling very quick like it was earlier, because of that engine starting to lay down, unfortunately. I mean, we are opening up a bigger gap, but it's almost like, I mean, I can feel it, and I can hear it in the motor. And thankfully, though, we'll get some materials that will make the car more reliable as we continue through the season. We just gotta be really cautious, though, because we will have to take some grid penalties. And if we have to change everything, we may have to take a bunch of grid penalties when it comes to this, so... But, you know, better to take them now, rather than later in the season. Let's just keep an eye out on everything. Whoa! Oh boy! Wow. Okay, so we just got wicked loose there. Let's see if we can get back on the track. Boy, did you see that? The rear end just kind of like snapped on us. But we kept on racing, which is good news. And those cars got their laps back. But boy, did you see the rear end just like kick out? think it's just because the tires are really giving us problems. I mean, we're far enough ahead that we could pit for like soft tires, but I don't want to be that kind of jerk. Meanwhile, Leclerc is trying once again to get around Max Verstappen, but we'll make sure and hope that he does it, because it would be great to finish 1-2, like I've said. Alright, let's see what happens here. We're going to have to catch these back markers again, as we're now inside of 2 laps to go. Don't know why the car just suddenly had that issue. Dang it. Hate when I have to sneeze during a race like that, but it's okay, we're good.
Gap to your teammate behind is
We are not dead.
28.8 seconds.
28, okay, that's fine. So here we go, through these couple of corners. Now let's see if we can get through these two. Alex Albon goes behind us. Lance Stroll is most likely going to get that last spot! Oh my goodness! Lance Stroll, you idiot. You absolute pillock. Well, at least we're coming to the white flag now, but did you guys see that? He stopped at just the wrong spot, but this puts us on the white flag lap presented by Ally Bank, and thank goodness we have a big enough gap, but our front wing is totally damaged. And now Leclerc has fallen back to 4th, so unfortunately the strategy is not going to play out for him, but it is going to play out for us. But boy, that front wing, I cannot believe that happened. We almost lost the front wing. And if we had come to pit road, maybe we could have gone back out there on the softs, but who knows what would have happened. But right now, it looks like we are struggling. But that's okay, because we got a big enough gap here that we should be totally fine. It's a little tight right there, but that's okay. Like I said, we got a big enough gap, we don't have to worry too much about anything. But this has been a dominant race. We've led pretty much every lap of this event. And now we're going to come back out of here. Coming out of the final corner, it is going to be a double Ferrari points day, but not a 1-2. But we have won at the Austrian GP with a broken front wing and a sick engine. Yes. Good work.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
Yep, we did it, man. And Alex Albon got driver of the day. That's pretty neat. Good for him.
A fantastic team effort then to secure victory here in the Styrian Alps. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
Oh yeah, baby. We've done it. Well, definitely was a really good race, that's for sure. And hey, we had that broken front wing, but hey, at least we won, and at least we kept everything under control.
The driver's standings. The scientist increases their championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to the scientist.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Look at that. We now have a big gap ahead of Max Verstappen, which is great. Sergio Perez has fallen back. And as you can see, we have a big gap on the Red Bull team, which is fantastic. So let's go back and look at that replay again, because that was dumb what happened there with between me and Lance Stroll, because that should be a penalty. Let's go all the way back to where that was. It was about somewhere around here, I believe. Yeah, it was right here. I think. No, it was actually coming to the white flag, but yeah, this was coming to the white flag. So let's go here, and let's fast forward a little bit. Because watch this. So we catch back up to these back markers. So here we go. We'll start from right here. So now we're back on. As you can see, we're closing the gap. So there goes Ocon, I believe. Is that? No, that's Alex Albon. And then as we come through the corner, watch this. See, look at that. He just immediately slowed down, and we ended up in the wall. Let's watch it again from another angle. Like, just watch this really quick. Ah, shit. Let's try it again. I hit the wrong button. Here we go. So right here... Yeah, look at that! Just... I don't understand what he was thinking. And just that one little tap sent us into the wall. Let's go ahead and go on board with him, and let's just see what this sounded like, because it sounded like... Because let's see here. Alright, so let's get right to about here, and then let's get a good view. Alright, so here they come to the corner. Yeah, see, he slows down, but let's get another view from Alex Albon's onboard cam. Watch this. Yeah, see, just that little bit of contact upset my car. So yeah, Stroll's gonna... Man, we've been hit by a lot of people in this series. That's a little bit of a stupidity deal. Alright, so our next race is the British Grand Prix, and we'll see how this goes. So, if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button, don't forget to comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care.